DHS defines human trafficking as involving the use of force, fraud, or coercion to obtain some type of labor or commercial sex act.
Human trafficking is the exploitation of human beings for profit and has no place in any society.
Hey, by the way, many of us have heard that term, sex trafficking, but what does that actually mean? Well, tonight we're going to break down what it means to help you understand and why you should actually care.
A time to educate ourselves and raise awareness in our communities about this devastating crime that violates the most basic human rights.
Americans care a lot about money. We talk about jobs and taxes and paychecks, but here's what we don't talk about. Right here in the United States, there is a thriving underground economy based on selling children for sex.
You know, that's the thing that 2020 hindsight is all great.
Exactly.
But in that moment, this kid is just, she's still a kid, right? I still think of these guys as kids.
There's some kids that are caught up in the middle of all this. They grew up here, right?
Yeah. This is how sex traffickers do business. It's about supply and demand. First, they need someone to sell.
If people are buying, they're going to find a way to supply that demand.
They find them by combing through social media profiles, looking to spark a conversation.
Because anybody can say open an account and then send transactions, but it depends where was that device and what Wi-Fi and what was the IP address and who was sending and receiving these payments. Okay, now, Christy responded to this dude. I mean, you guys pause and read yourselves, but I'm telling you, Venmo is telling me a different story in this IDAHO4 case. Who knew that Venmo was like a haven for sugar babies, sugar daddies, and sugar mamas, sugar parents? But if you look at the IDAHO4 individuals and some of their Venmo transactions, I mean, just look at this Sugar Mama H. DM, if you're looking for a sugar mama.
These people who are wanting sugar babies are perverts.
Yes, that's what they are. Absolutely.
Great and simple. And many of them are pedophiles, but not always. So any age will do depending on the individual.
This could happen to anybody. It happens to people that are high up on the socioeconomic level that don't need the money, but because of different situations that are happening there, they're pulled into the life.
Victims can be any age, race, gender, immigration status, socioeconomic status.
This isn't the movies. It's not like Pretty Woman or Taken. Richard Gere is not the buyer. Liam Neeson isn't there to save the day. This is sexual exploitation. This is trafficking. This is modern day slavery.
So this isn't limited to Idaho, but in Idaho, we know that there are those who are being exploited and have been exploited in certain situations.
Human trafficking is a problem in every state. Paula says most of the victims they see are Idahoans. She says the biggest source of trafficking here is familial.
Our kids are being sold and they're being bought.
And it's happening here in Idaho too.
We have a very skewed understanding of at what level do we allow our children to be put in a box.
Sent my daughter to college to get an education. She came back in a box, and I can speak on that.
Parents, ask your children what they know if your kids are over there. They know something. If these kids stand together, we can put an end to this. Otherwise, kids are going to keep dying. The people are going to keep dying. These people mean it. They're not kidding. They're dangerous.
Cosby's first law of intergenerational perversity. No matter what you tell your child to do, he will always do the opposite. Huh?
This is so classic trafficking scenario that I cannot fathom hardly that there's anything else that could be going on.
Be a little conservative. She was conservative. She was always looking up stories on child, getting trafficked, and she was telling me that she thinks it's a lot bigger than people understand.
We have in addition to sex trafficking, we have an issue with labor trafficking.
So who are these buyers? Court records show they've been teachers, pastors, cops, and judges.
Last year, 44 Idaho police officers had their law enforcement certifications revoked because of misconduct. Law enforcement records show the total number of Idaho decertifications in 2020 was up from 2019, when just 39 officers were stripped of their credentials. 486 Idaho police officers have been decertified since 2002.
There's been officers around the country where like cops have shown up, firefighters, things like that, where you just wouldn't expect it.
Due to Idaho state law, we are limited in what information we can release today.
According to the charter, as chief constable, I'm supposed to get a pig every month and 2 comely lasses of virtue true.
Over the weekend, investigators still continued to sort through numerous tips, calls, and online tips in regard to this investigation.
I wish to report a robbery.
A robbery, right. Thanks for the report. There's another one, Lou. 723 Evergreen Terrace. Well, there doesn't seem to be any pattern yet, but if I take this one and move it here, then I move these over here. Hello? It almost looks like an arrow.
Hey, look, Chief, it's pointing right at this police station.
Let's get out of here!
You have nowhere to turn and no recourse when you're caught up in a situation that might involve law enforcement. Where do you go?
Recent Idaho State Police data shows law enforcement agencies reported 36 human trafficking offenses in Idaho in 2022, a 414% increase from the previous year.
Data doesn't paint an accurate picture of how prevalent it is in Idaho.
Other agencies may not track human trafficking because it happens at the same time as other crimes and can be hard for officers to identify. It's a much bigger problem than those numbers portray.
We have an entire population that is under-identified, under-reported, and funneling through our systems punitively.
But what are you supposed to do when those tasked with protecting you, ensuring your safety, and respecting your rights are complicit in the harassment and beneficiaries of your exploitation? You see, like you, they made their own deals with the devil and likewise are expected to fall in line.
Sarah, you're as lovely as the day I first arrested you.
Oh, Clancy.
You know, I planted that crystal meth just to meet you. I was so shy.
Having handlers that were law enforcement in a university community, you know, as my experience, they took my driver's license and memorized it. That was before cell phones.
Yeah. So I'm going to grab your info.
Yeah.
And if I do have to come back here, a $300-some ticket's coming your way.
Okay.
And it only gets more expensive from there. Is that fair?
Yeah, that's
okay.
fair. Absolutely.
Actually, let's just do it this way. What's a good phone number for you? I'd much rather you spend that $300 on beer or something fun than
Yeah.
sticker, right?
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah. That being said, warnings, don't do it again.
Yep.
I'd hate to come back in a few hours and then have to issue it. So,
Yeah.
Any questions for me?
No.
All right. Have a great rest of your day.
Take care.
It's one thing to look at it and to get your age, but to take a photo to get all the info is spooky to me. And who is that information going to?
So there's also rumors. There's also rumors that the cops are taking the girls' phone numbers and actually not just the girls, but multiple girls around there and calling them and trying to court them. Yeah, rumors. I'm not saying this is very, but I mean, so
he's in that position I was talking about. He's in a position of authority over you, and anyone in those positions are terrifying.
This is ridiculous. You've been through my delicates, my silkies, my dainties, and my unmentionables.
Hey, Chief, look what I found under Mr. Simpson's car seat.
Hey, man, you planted that.
It's your word against the chief of police. Homer Simpson, you're under arrest for murder.
No!
What do you believe the motive of the crime was?
To shut them up. I believe that it was initiated to shut them up, and I believe maybe the people who were were hired to do it or told to do it, went overboard.
You don't have to give a name, but I mean, is it someone that she knew, or?
I have something to say about that. I just feel like there's been a couple individuals that were cleared very fast. That may not, maybe shouldn't have been. And yeah.
When you hear these suspects, but there's no warrant related to them, then you can kind of toss those out.
Some victims of human trafficking can feel like their new lifestyle was a choice, and so they really have no one else to blame for their current situation. Traffickers use insecurity, embarrassment, fear of retaliation, and intimidation to control their victims. These forms include imposing of debt, fraudulent employment opportunities, false promises of love or a better life, psychological coercion, and violence or threats of violence. The crime of human trafficking hinges on the exploitation of another person.
When it turns into something like unwanted intimacy, who are you going to tell? Your trafficker that sent you on the, I tried telling, and they're like, they more or less said, no kidding.
Yeah. Exactly.
Like, you should have known that's where this is going.
If you view the individual from the lens of prostitution, then you are saying that that person is choosing to do it and nobody is forcing that.
Some people know about it and put their head in the sand about the whole situation.
Yeah, I think that's what we're struggling with. So it's like, we know what we know.
I want to know, but then there's stuff obviously you don't want to know.
Okay, so Maddie's in the background. I showed this picture to you before. Can you explain what the hell this guy's doing here?
The first words out of my mouth were, what the heck? What is going on here? So after I said, what the heck, then I'm looking and I'm going, he's carrying a drink in their home. So he's hanging out. And then my understanding is there's video of him more than once in this home. Is that correct?
He's a frequent flyer there.
Transnational drug traffickers and criminal organizations often look to increase profits and market control through diversification. This means using trafficking routes for drugs, labor, sex, and violence.
It's just a different commodity. You got your dope that isn't a walking, talking entity, and so there's less concerns around that. But then moving people is the same as moving dope. Yeah.
For example, cartels will often use trafficked women to smuggle drugs across the border, doubling the exploitation and the money they can take from them.
I've known many who weren't on any sort of drugs or anything that are shot up their first time with something and are addicted, and then addicted for life, like fighting and fighting and fighting. If they survive the trafficking, then they're fighting addictions.
I was arrested with a trafficker, and it was his drugs on me. He made me carry, and when I told the officer what had happened, the officer wouldn't believe me. He thought that I was just a prostitute that had a drug problem.
Traffickers use drugs and alcohol as tools to lure potential victims, groom them, and ultimately control them. They exploit individuals' opioid use or substance use disorders to coerce them into trafficking, knowing that they are more vulnerable than individuals without substance use disorders.
This is not the end of this investigation. In fact, this is a new beginning.